Hiya, Scott. ROCKFILE back with another podcast review for you. Talking about the second in my Hellraiser Quartet of Torment box set, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2. Released around Christmas 1988. In the UK, it was released the next summer in 1989. This movie doubles down on everything that the first movie did. First movie was written and directed by Clive Barker. Clive wrote the story for this one. Peter Atkins wrote the screenplay, and Tony Randell directed it, who was still directing movies up to 2018. Brought back Claire Higgins, brought back Ashley Lawrence, introduced new Dr. Chenard. This movie really doubles down. This is one of those sequels that, well, may not be better than the first one, but it's kind of like Alien to Aliens. Hellraiser was a story about a family affected by the Cenobites. This goes much bigger and takes you literally to hell, or at least one version of it. I have always been a fan of this movie since I sat in the theater and was just kind of repulsed by it. I mean, it doubles down on all the gore from the first one. You start off that way. When the stepmom comes back, she has no skin, much like Frank had no skin, but it's even eerier because it's a woman and she's naked with no skin. And anyway, she kind of seduces the doctor. He goes to the dark side. He brings hell on earth. Kirsty has been thrown into an insane asylum. She's the only one that really knows what's going on. Somebody finally figures out that maybe she does. They help. They eventually have to go to this Leviathan, this level of hell, basically, where the Cenobites live, to bring somebody back. The analogy fits. Alien to Aliens, Hellraiser to Hellraiser 2. Just a much bigger film. Maybe not all the special effects work, but they're all done, well, most of them are done practically. There's a few matte shots and all that, but like the makeup stuff is incredibly well done. It's disgusting. And it's supposed to be. That's what Hellraiser is. These Cenobites live on pain is pleasure kind of thing. And everything, they're all torn apart and held apart and ripped apart and cut apart. And anyway, the bad guys get their just due in the end, so I think this is another reason why Hellraiser works, where some other horror movies don't always. You're kind of happy with how things end, even though there's always that little ending that, well, this is not completely over, is it? But with the characters that we are involved with in each film, at least the first two, we get a satisfactory ending for them at least, and then you get that typical horror movie twing. Check out the next film when it comes out. I've always liked Hellraiser 2. This is the best it's ever looked and sounded. I can't say it's going to blow you away in its 4K-ness, but it certainly looks better than the Blu-ray that Arrow put out years ago. Everything's tighter. The grain is better controlled. Everything is more concise. Colors are more robust. It's everything you want out of a 4K transfer of an old film. They haven't gone the extra mile and fixed a whole lot of stuff. It's just a really good version of and the print's in very good shape. Believe me, when I saw this back in the theater in the late 80s, it looked like a rough film then. I wasn't expecting it to look like Fantastic Four now. It's always looked rough. The box set I love. It collects all these extras, and I have now watched all 4 movies. I started with 3 and 4, so we'll get to those reviews really soon. It's a really good box set, and for the cost that I got it for is worth it for the first 2 movies, plus the second 2 with all the extras. Like I said, I won't go back to the movies 3 and 4 as often, but the extras that were on there with Scott Derrickson early in his career and some other people, it was fascinating, even the behind the scenes on how they were trying to recreate the beauty of the first 2 films. That if you want to call that kind of horror movie beautiful, they kind of are in their own way. So, always been a fan of Hellraiser. Hellraiser 1 and 2 are quintessential classics in anybody's horror library. If you want to pick up the box set, I think it's worth it for the first 2 and all the extras. And as a bonus, you get movies 3 and 4. And a director's cut on the third one, I believe. So anyway, long story short, Hellraiser 2 is another favorite at Halloween. I pull this out almost every year, about every other year. It's just a good horror movie that when you're done, you want to watch a comedy because it makes you feel dirty. And I don't know, sometimes you got to have a real horror movie. I like a lot of horror comedies. Abigail is a great one. Ready or Not is a great horror comedy from recent times, but this is not that. This is a down and dirty horror movie from beginning to end, taken seriously, and So anyway, I think they did a great job. Arrow's done a great job on the box set and this second movie. You should add it to your collection if you are so inclined. It's cheaper now than it's ever been. It's hovering in the 55 to 65 range. When it first came out, it was 70 and 80. For the 4K, you can get the Blu-ray for cheaper, but highly recommend the 4K in pretty much all. Very rarely, especially these boutique labels, screw up a transfer. They've made some mistakes, and then they issue corrected discs, sometimes audio or a repeated scene or something small like that. But like, I watched the cell, and I don't know whether my disc was corrected or not, and had a blast with that 4K. So anyway, if you're a fan of the Hellraiser movies, you probably already own this box set and wonder what it took me 2 years to get one. But anyway, long story short, I very much enjoyed my time, and hope you do too if you like horror movies. Scott, I'm ROCKFILE. More Halloween podcasts are on the way. I'm trying to do 31 in the month of October. Fingers crossed I can get there. Please like, share, and subscribe, and have a spectacular day.